Part of the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's National Hug an Economist Day, Tone. Have you ever hugged an economist?
Tony Kornheiser, no, I once tried to do it to Alan Greenspan, but I got tackled by security.
Do you know Alan Greenspan? You actually know him?
We've met.
Okay.
We've met. I mean, I can't say I know him.
I know some guys were like going to play golf tomorrow, except you can't go play golf.
No, it's still snowpacked. I mean, you can
go to Topgolf, you can do that.
You can go to a simulator. You know, if that's what you want to do, you go to a simulator. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Wizards stink.
Ooh.
The Warriors contemplate Jimmy Butler's fit, and Jay Billis joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with John Calipari's return to Kentucky as the coach of Arkansas, which will happen tomorrow. Former Kentucky coach Rick Pitino posted on social media a plea for Kentucky fans to welcome back Calipari, warmly saying, quote, "I want all of you to show the great class you have." 23,000 plus people giving him a huge standing ovation, unquote. Wilbon, how do you believe Calipari should and will be received?
I think he will be briefly received just as Rick Pitino hopes. That it will be.
Really?
I think it will be warm
be cheered.
initially. They'll be cheered. He will be cheered. He should be cheered.
Don't think it'd be booed.
And a few people. There's always a few fools. But I think that by and large, overwhelmingly, he will be cheered at the beginning and the end. And they'll find some way to chant something or do something, offensive, borderline. Because that's what fans do, particularly if they feel they've been wronged by somebody. Now, to me, Cal delivered at Kentucky.
Yeah.
Well, what else?
Pitino did too, and he got booed when he.
Okay, but Pitino's situation is different.
That's
Pitino
right.
went to Louisville,
That's right.
the hated blood rival.
That's right.
Cal hasn't done that.
That's right.
It's a conference school, but it's not even really a rival. Neither one of us thinks it's Arkansas as a rival to Kentucky.
No.
So just cheer Calipari and get it over.
So I find this a little bit presumptuous of Pitino, and I think it's born out of the fact that when he made his return to Kentucky, and he was as you say, a blood rival Louisville,
yes.
That's a different story. And I can't imagine that people in Kentucky hate Arkansas the way that they hate
anything
Louisville.
about Arkansas.
I also thought, I wonder about what Pitino said. I wonder, in this regard, when he says, show how classy you are, I think what he's thinking is, boy, they weren't classy to me at all.
Well, what he's
they
also
weren't classy
thinking,
to me. They booed me out of the gym.
He knows that
right?
fans everywhere can behave like bums. And he's
that's
doing
right.
this to sort of influence their behavior, and that could backfire.
Okay, so I would say this. If I was going to sit in that gym wearing blue tomorrow and I saw Rick Pitino do this, it might make me angry. I might be more inclined to boo than I was normally. You are correct. These are different circumstances completely. Pitino bolted for the NBA and Boston. And then when he comes back, of all places,
Louisville.
he goes to Louisville.
Down
So
the
they booed him out of the gym.
Yeah.
Calipari won championship, 4 Final Fours, but they were itching to get rid of him, Mike. They were ready to get rid of him because he wasn't doing well in the tournament. And the other part of this is, again, it's Arkansas. It's not Louisville. I hope he gets cheered.
He's no threat to Kentucky now.
And Kentucky,
so it's easier to be kind.
Mark
at
Pope
least
has
initially.
Kentucky in a great spot.
Yeah.
Kentucky shouldn't be that
But
upset.
let's see how they treat Pope if he doesn't win after 5 years.
Okay. Got to win there.
We're going to an interesting place now because your Washington Wizards have done it again. Tony's boys lost a team record-tying 16 games in a row for the third time in less than 11 months. Last night's loss by 38 at home to the Lakers leaves the Wizards at 6-41 on the season. Wizards GM Will Dawkins was clear in the preseason, he was, Tone, that the team is in the deconstruction and foundation-laying stage of a rebuild.
Yeah.
So, I know you must accept this futility as a necessary step in the process.
Yeah, let me find out from you the last time the Lakers went into a deconstruction mode and a 5 to 8 year rebuild. But the Yankees, the Dodgers, they don't know. That doesn't happen, does it? Okay, the Wizards stink. They are the worst team in the NBA.
Maybe ever.
I'm going to get to that.
Maybe.
Last night, they were down, let me get the numbers right, 78 to 45 at the half. At home against the Lakers team where Anthony Davis didn't play and LeBron played 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay? They have They have these ridiculously lopsided losses all the time. They have the worst point differential in the league, and they're on pace maybe to have the worst point differential of all time, okay? They have nobody right now, per se, to build around. They are
You
like
don't love Alex Sarr at this
he's
point?
okay is as far as I'm going to go.
Right.
Okay. They're like the land of lost toys. Their two most well-known players, Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole, are likely to be traded for draft picks or scrap metal. They put a shoddy product out on the floor, and to my knowledge, they haven't lowered the ticket prices. And you have a guy who's engineering the rebuild, Michael Wingers, is going to take 5 years. Really?
Well,
really,
the Sixers did this.
Did they ever win?
The process.
Did they ever win, the Sixers?
No, they haven't even gotten to the
No,
conference
they didn't
finals.
win. They haven't got right.
No, they haven't. Let me just say this. You don't have to do it this way, because you don't need a 1, 2, or 3 pick to be great in today's NBA. If you get Victor Wembanyama, great. If you get Anthony Edwards, great.
He's not walking through that door, because he already walked through the door.
He already walked through it.
Right.
But let me mention some people that other folks have, and they're either bordering great or have been great. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Sure.
Like
That's right.
11 or 12 or whatever he was chosen.
Sure.
Joker, second round. SGA, I believe 11. Jalen Brunson, second round. The Knicks are going to be a threat. They're going to be right there. Conference finals, very likely. Booker, been to the finals. I think he was 13th. Maxey, Kawhi Leonard, wearing a ring from Toronto. You have to draft smart and develop.
I will concede this, but I will concede that Houston, that Oklahoma City, and that Detroit, they look like it. They look. But let me tell you, what about Charlotte? What about New Orleans? What about Utah? What about
New Orleans hasn't won?
You're not guaranteed. The point is you're not guaranteed. And the guy overseeing this, I believe, when he was general manager of the Clippers, traded SGA, as you like to call him, for Paul George. How's that look now? How's that look today?
Doesn't look real good.
Not that real good, is it? Let's return to the Jimmy
Butler
saga.
You got one team. You got the Commanders, and the Nationals are pretty good.
Love the Nationals. Well, but
don't get greedy.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about this team. Okay. The Jimmy Butler saga. Recent reporting in The Athletic and Yahoo finds Steve Kerr and Steph Curry having reservations about Butler's fit in the Warriors' locker room. One word that has been used is combustion. Wilbon, do you understand Kerr's and Curry's reported concern about trading for Butler?
Yeah, I understand it. And much more than understanding that, I understand a little bit how they function. I feel fortunate to have been around the Warriors a lot in the last 10 years. And that group of men, and now Bob Myers, who I've worked with and still work with, and Bob was with that group, and even before Steve Kerr was with that group, Mark Jackson was. And the whole program, Tony, when you're talking about Kerr and Curry and Draymond, and we talked about Iguodala yesterday because he's going to get his jersey retired, and Klay Thompson, there's an intellect about them. There's a single-mindedness. Okay, what do we do for the team? They discuss, they chop it up. They have a sense of what is needed there. And so if they have any reservation, you got to listen to it. It doesn't mean they're always going to be right.
That's right.
But you got to listen to the feelings that they have and pay attention to the instincts that they have. I would think that Jimmy Butler could fit, but they know their room.
They are comporting themselves with a quiet dignity as they go about their business.
They do.
And Curry and Draymond Green have publicly said, we're not going to bust up this team. They don't want this guy. Look, I said this. They don't want him. I said this the other day. When you take Jimmy Butler, the player, you get Jimmy Butler, the person.
Yeah.
As a player, he has proven time and again, he's great, especially in the playoffs. As a person, he's proven time and again that he can sabotage his own team if he doesn't get what he wants. To me, only a serious contender should take him because he's going to want a new contract. If he doesn't get it, you don't know how he's going to react. Is Golden State a serious contender? I don't believe they are. I don't believe they are, right? I mean, if you said to me that Dallas or Milwaukee or Phoenix or Cleveland was interested, but Golden State has too many steps to climb. I don't, and I think their instinct is right about this. I do. I think it's right.
Here's the thing. I don't think that Jimmy would sabotage Golden State because I know Jimmy Butler enough.
We sabotaged 2 other or 3 other teams.
But this is Golden State. These are guys. These are peers. These are people he's been playing against his whole career. Jimmy Butler's not, he got electricity in his building.
He did this to Miami with Spoelstra and Riley.
Wait a minute. But he also got to the finals twice.
Yes. And then he decided.
But the guys on the court are not Curry and Green, huh? I mean, he'd be playing with those
Do you
guys.
hear them say, go get him? Have you heard that?
Not publicly.
Oh, you've heard it privately?
No.
No. Okay.
I just think it'd be.
Let me know.
I keep thinking it'd be a good.
Let's
place
take a break.
Man.
Coming up, how has Cooper Flagg's game changed throughout the season? We're going to ask Jay Billis.
We're also going to find out from him whether the Southeastern Conference, football conference, is only getting better at hoops as the season
Let me
goes.
go back to the Wizards. They wore the District of Columbia shirts last night.
Yeah.
I hate that when they do it. They tried to move out of the District of Columbia. They tried to go to Virginia.
Be careful.
They got. A big weekend ahead in college basketball, which makes it a perfect time to welcome back our dashing friend, ESPN college basketball analyst, Jay Billis from Cameron Indoor at the moment. You're at Duke right now for tomorrow evening's game with UNC. Cooper Flagg had a great January, averaging 25, 8, and 5, and Wilbon would say 5, 5, 5, and 5.
Yeah.
How has his game changed, Jay, throughout the season?
He's becoming more assertive. So he's been their leading scorer, rebounder, assist guy, shot blocker, you name it, throughout the year. But over the last 10 games or so, he's been really decisive and assertive, especially as a scorer. Earlier in the season, there were times when he would try to make a dribble move, maybe play with the ball a little bit. He's not doing that now. And over the last 5 games, he's averaging 27 a game. Last time I was in Cameron was for their game against Notre Dame. He had 42. He's the best full package of a freshman I've seen here at Duke in the 40-plus years I've been associated with this program. That doesn't mean he's going to be the best player in the NBA or all that. But when you combine his skill level and his mental makeup as a freshman, nobody's had that. And he's got the same kind of competitive nature that Leitner had. And that, to me, that's saying something. Like, Leitner was the most competitive person, I think, that's played in this program, I believe. And I think Cooper Flagg, at least to this point as a freshman, is his equal in that department. Whether he'll be his equal as a player, he won't be here long enough to match his 4-year record. But he's the real deal. Jay
has just killed the dinner table conversation in my house because I keep telling Matthew, Grant Hill, Grant Hill, Grant Hill. Don't tell me about Cooper Flagg. And now Jay's,
that's it.
I got nothing tonight.
No. But
don't even go home.
Grant Hill was the best player. Grant Hill was the best player to ever play here, in my view. But as a freshman, Flagg's ahead of him.
Okay.
As a freshman. Okay. Now Grant took it to another level. I called Grant Sandy Koufax. Like, his first 7 years in the NBA were comparable to any great player that's ever played.
Absolutely.
Any great player that's ever played.
Okay, Jay's helped me recover with that part.
No, you can go to your 16-year-old son and sound smart.
Tony and I, Jay, as you know, are sitting here essentially in the hometown of Hubert Davis. And I don't know if he's as stunned by this. I am dismayed at the talk I hear, even around here, that there's pressure on Hubert Davis because the Tar Heels are 13-9, 3 seasons after they get to the final game. Is he really under that much pressure right now?
Well, there's always pressure on the head coach at North Carolina. Dean Smith had a tremendous amount of pressure. Roy Williams felt a similar thing. There's always questions. I mean, he was questioned about how he used timeouts. I think he was pretty good at that. So Hubert Davis is going to be no different in that regard. The one thing I'll tell you about Hubert that Hubert Davis is one of the finest human beings I've ever known in my life. He's the best father I've ever seen. And one thing I know for certain is he is handling this the same way every day in practice. He is teaching, he is coaching, he is preparing without regard to external factors. He's concerned about the internal. And if you'll recall, and I know you do, in 2022, his first year there, about this time of year, everybody's saying the same things they're saying now. And they beat Duke in the middle of the year, and they wound up going to the national championship game. Now, this team is a different team. I think they've got some issues in their rebounding. Their interior hasn't played as well as they're capable of playing. But the one thing I believe about North Carolina, they haven't played up to their capabilities, but they're capable of more than we have seen. So I think that's the way he is handling this team, and I think they're going to be better as the year goes on.
Okay. Good to hear, because I really root for Hubert Davis. Let's go to the SEC, where you told us on air and privately about how great the SEC was going to be, and wow, you did not oversell it. Auburn is one of 10 SEC teams, as you know, Jay, in the top 25, 7 in the top 14. So this is playing out as you thought. Is this sustainable? I mean, is there something coming that we can't see that's going to reduce some of these teams between now and March, or are they just going to roll like this into the tournament?
I think they're going to roll like this into the tournament. The only thing that can you're not going to derail an entire league in the tournament. Somebody's going to get picked off here and there. That's going to happen. But I think Auburn, Florida, Alabama, they're all Final Four teams. I think Tennessee is not that far behind. They have some things to fix in their offense, and their big guys need to be more productive. But there are so many quality teams. The last time any conference projected like this was 1984 in the ACC, but people forget the ACC was 8 teams back then. It's a lot easier for every team to be really good when there's 8. This league has 16, and they're all very good. Now, I think one of the biggest issues SEC teams are going to have is you can be on a stretch like Tennessee is on right now, where you lose a couple games but play well enough to win. And you're going to feel like it's a losing streak and, the sky's falling. You're going to see your own blood in this league, and you got to figure out how to clean it up and move on. And I think most of these teams know that. The question is, are they going to be battle-tested or weary as a result of it? And is a team like Duke out of the ACC, where they're not tested as much, going to be fresher as a result, or are they going to feel like we haven't been challenged as much? I don't know the answer to that, and I think it's going to be team by team.
All right, we will get you out of here on this, and we'll ask for a brief answer. Rutgers has 2 players that we are told could go 2-3 in the upcoming NBA draft, Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. But Rutgers is only 11-10. Why isn't Rutgers better?
They don't have the same sort of supporting cast around them that some other teams with great players have. Duke with Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel, both are going to be lottery picks, most likely, if they decide to come out. And I think they will. But they've got older guys around them. Steve Peichel just doesn't have that. So both Bailey and Harper are legit. Like, this draft is going to be as good as any I can remember in the last decade. There is talent throughout this draft, but especially at the top with Flagg, Bailey, and Harper.
Thank you, Jay.
Jay, appreciate
you
it
again.
Thank you much.
You can catch more of Jay on College Game Day tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Let's take one last break. Still to come, Giannis and Wembanyama get set to face each other tonight.
And the Fever adds some help for Caitlin Clark and company.
Do you see Jay wearing Peter Millar?
Peter Millar, yes.
Yeah. Do you have a Peter Millar thing, too?
Yeah.
Really?
You don't?
So, no, I don't.
Oh.
So how about it?
Well.
How about it? Happy time, people. Happy 57th birthday, Doug Peterson. Happy 46th birthday, Robert Saleh. Yes, both these gentlemen were fired as head coaches in the NFL recently. Peterson was fired after the season by Jacksonville. Saleh was fired during the season by the Jets. Saleh's record in New York, 20-36. Peterson's record in Jacksonville, 22-29. Peterson had previously been fired by Philadelphia, where he'd actually won a Super Bowl. He and the owner differed on the merits of Jalen Hurts. Who's laughing now? Well, the owner is. There's a happy ending here for Saleh. He's gone back to his former role as defensive coordinator with the 49ers, where he helped coach them to the Super Bowl in 2019. Peterson awaits the phone ringing.
Well, Peterson's such a pleasant, chatty guy. Television, maybe?
Really?
He can't go work for Nick Saban because Saban's on television.
That's right. Happy anniversary, John Elway. On this day 26 years ago, Elway won the Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos over Atlanta, was named Super Bowl MVP, and promptly retired after spending his entire 16-year career with the Broncos. Elway was actually drafted out of Stanford by the Baltimore Colts, but refused to sign there. He threatened to play baseball instead for the Yankees, so Baltimore traded Elway to the Broncos. Elway led Denver to 5 different Super Bowls, losing the first 3, then winning the final 2. In this one, Elway went 18 of 29 for 336 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 interception. Wilbon, you love John Elway.
Yes, I do. And it angers me that John Elway does not get enough talk for greatest quarterback ever. 5 Super Bowls, the first 3 with nary a Pro Bowl teammate. John Elway is that great, Tony. He was.
A melancholy trails to Dick Button. Without question, Dick Button, who died yesterday at 95, was the most important figure in American figure skating. He won 7 straight American national championships and was the first American to win an Olympic gold medal in the sport, which he did in 1948 when he was 18. He won a second gold medal in 1952. On the way, Button was the first skater to execute a double axel jump and the first to land a triple jump. After graduating from Harvard Law School, Button became a professional ice skater with the Ice Capades, earning $150,000. almost double what Ted Williams was making in baseball. Button covered figure skating for CBS first, then ABC, and ultimately NBC, and was acerbic and strident in his love for the sport and his critiques of the skaters for over 40 years. Button was simply the alpha and omega of figure skating, the highest authority.
Tony, it's almost unthinkable to have sad news on top of the tragic news. And so I think our thoughts, I know I speak for you, are with the entire figure skating community.
Yes. We're running out of show when we go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Dwayne Wade revealed he had a cancerous tumor removed from his right kidney 13 months ago. Your thoughts?
Dwayne says that he's good now, and I certainly hope that's the case, and sending our best wishes to Dwayne Wade. Giannis at Wemby tonight. Giannis at Wemby. You intrigued, aren't you?
Yes. If you added Jokic, you couldn't get more intrigued. You would add Embiid, except he doesn't play. The Indiana Fever landed two-time All-Star and three-time champ Natasha Howard as a free agent. Is that significant?
That's some inside to go with Indiana's obvious outside, Miss Caitlin Clark. Vandy freshman Michaela Blake's dropped 53 in a win over the Gators last night. You impressed?
So we had Jay Billis talk about how good the SEC men's programs are.
Yeah.
How about the SEC women's programs with South Carolina and LSU and now this? That's a lot of points. Last one, the Jets are at the Caps on Saturday night. Is that worth watching?
Yes, that's number 1 versus number 2, the top 2 teams in each conference respectively. And I didn't mention, this is why your greed over the Wizards, it does not show well. You got the Capitals.
Yeah, they've been good.
Best team in the East.
Yeah, they've been very good. We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Have a great weekend, knuckleheads. I'd take a team in Chicago being at the top of any league. You got nothing.
No, you got nothing.
Sports.
PTI. PTI bonus topic.
All right, Wilbon. More intriguing storyline. John Calipari's return to Kentucky or Cooper Flagg's UNC Duke debut?
Oh, it's Cooper Flagg. There's no question in my mind. Cal's been to too many places to belong to one place. I mean, Cal, before he got to Kentucky, he was at UMass.
Yep.
And then he was at Memphis, and now he's at Arkansas.
Yep.
So, I mean, that doesn't resonate with me. Cooper Flagg is only going to play against Carolina probably twice.
3 at the most.
At the most.
3 at the most.
And so you want to see this. I know previously you could play against Carolina, 8, 9, 10 times if they played in the ACC tournament, if they played again in the NCAA tournament. You're not getting that anymore. So these are at a premium. That's what I'm interested in.
That's interesting. I agree with your decision. I would say that Calipari, the storyline is over before the game starts. It's the first 10 seconds when he gets introduced. Is he going to be cheered? Is he going to be booed? Yeah. And as soon as you have that, you have no more storyline. So it is, of course, Cooper Flagg. 3 times at the most, once at home, this one, once on the road, and once at a neutral site, maybe in the ACC tournament.
Unless
if that happens, because then he's going to the NBA. Okay, but then he's going to the NBA. And to me, everybody has memories of Carolina and Duke and certain games that stand out. Most recently for me, the game that stands out was when Carolina went to Duke and beat Mike Krzyzewski in his last home game at Duke.
That's right.
If you remember that. So those things are special. I've told you this before. My daughter-in-law is a Dookie and her father is from Carolina, and they can't sit in the same room together and watch the games.
They don't.
Those rivalries are real.
For me, and I covered a lot of these games. Austin Rivers.
Sure, that shot.
That's a pretty big one.
Sure.
That's it. We're done. Back to you.